open the video with a powerful visual scene. Millions of people entering a museum, walking slowly toward one of the most famous works of the ancient world, the bust of Nefertiti. The camera should feel intimate, as if the viewer were standing right in front of that perfect face. Pose the central question. What if the most famous face of ancient Egypt wasn't Nefertiti's true face? Create intrigue by suggesting that for over a century the world admired a beautiful surface, unaware that beneath that beauty lay another, hidden version. The mystery began to unravel when modern technology allowed researchers to look inside the bust without destroying it. In 2007, they used computed tomography, CT scans, a medical technology designed to examine the interior of the human body. The surprising discovery was that inside the sculpture was not just a supporting structure, but another complete face, more natural, more human, and less perfect than the visible one. Simply put, the bust of Nefertiti has two faces. One is the famous, perfect, outer face. The other is hidden inside, covered by layers of plaster and paint. That inner face could reveal a more realistic version of the queen. The tone should be mysterious, elegant, and cinematic. The discovery should not be presented as mere archaeology, but rather as a question about truth, beauty, and identity. Rekindle curiosity by asking, why does an Egyptian queen from over 3,300 years ago continue to fascinate the modern world? Present Nefertiti as more than just a pretty face, a figure of power, influence, and mystery. Her name means the beautiful one has arrived, but her story is far more complex than mere beauty. Explain that Nefertiti lived during one of Egypt's most radical periods, alongside Pharaoh Akhenaten. He attempted to change Egyptian religion, replacing the worship of multiple gods with the primary worship of the sun disk, Aten. He also moved the capital to Amarna, a new city built in the desert. There, a more human and less rigid artistic style emerged compared to traditional Egyptian art. Nefertiti was no ordinary queen. She appeared in depictions almost on equal footing with the pharaoh, participating in scenes of power. Therefore, her bust is not just a work of art. It is a key piece for understanding politics, religion, beauty, and propaganda in ancient Egypt. This act should make the viewer understand that Nefertiti was not just a famous woman, but a central figure in a religious and cultural revolution. Pose a powerful question. If the bust was so perfect and valuable, why wasn't it found in a tomb, palace, or temple? Create surprise by revealing that it was found in an abandoned workshop, amidst dust, tools, unfinished sculptures, and broken fragments. To explain, in December 1912, the German archaeologist Ludwig Borchardt discovered the bust in the ruins of Amarna, inside the workshop of the sculptor Thutmose. This workshop belonged to an artist of the royal court, possibly responsible for creating official portraits of the royal family. The find was astonishing because the piece seemed too perfect to have been abandoned. This raised a question that remains unanswered. Why was such an extraordinary work left forgotten there for thousands of years? The most plausible explanation is that Amarna was abandoned after Akhenaten's death. His religious revolution failed, Egypt returned to its ancient gods, and the city declined in importance. The workshop was sealed off, buried by sand, and the bust remained there for over 3,300 years. If you love ancient mysteries, archaeological discoveries, and stories that change the way we see the past, subscribe to the channel now, because this secret of Nefertiti is just beginning. But the strangest thing was not that the bust had been found in a workshop. The strangest thing was what that workshop revealed about how the faces of power were manufactured. Before continuing, leave a like if this mystery has already surprised you and comment. Do you think the hidden face was Nefertiti's real face or just a stage in the sculptor's work? Introduce the discovery of plaster masks in the same workshop. Have the viewer imagine a sculptor applying wet plaster to the face of a living person to obtain an accurate impression. The key question: could Thutmose have used a similar technique to capture Nefertiti's true face? Explain that some masks found in the workshop appear to have served as realistic models. If this method was used at court, then the inner face of the bust could be based on a more direct, less idealized representation, closer to the queen's actual appearance. This is not presented as an absolute fact, but rather as a fascinating historical possibility. The masks show that the artists could work with real faces, not just imagined ones. Therefore, the face hidden within the bust opens up a powerful possibility. Perhaps a human Nefertiti was first created and then transformed into a perfect Nefertiti. Emphasize the contrast between real woman and official image. Herein lies the deeper theme of the video: how leaders and rulers control the way the world remembers them, creating tension by suggesting that the mystery of Nefertiti didn't end under the sand. After her discovery, another battle began. A diplomatic, historical, and cultural one. The question: to whom does Nefertiti's face truly belong? Explain that the bust arrived in Germany after the excavations led by Borchardt. Since then, Egypt has maintained that the importance of the piece was downplayed during the division of the finds. According to this view, the bust left the country because it was not presented with its true value. Germany, on the other hand, argues that the process was carried out according to the norms of the time and that the Egyptian authorities had the opportunity to examine the objects. The bust is not just a work of art. It is a cultural symbol. For Egypt, it represents a part of its historical identity. For Germany, it is a piece legally acquired under the archaeological rules of the time. That is why the debate continues. To display narrative irony, while governments argued over the bust, no one knew that inside was another face. Everyone fought over the surface, unaware of the secret hidden beneath. It was revealed that before the major discovery of 2007, there was an initial signal in 1992. Scientists tried to peer inside the bust, but the technology wasn't up to the task. The images showed something strange, but no one could say exactly what it was. The early scans suggested a complex internal structure. However, the images were blurry. It could have been a stone core, an old repair, a cavity, or a more elaborate form. The mystery remained unsolved for another 15 years, until more advanced technology allowed the bust to be analyzed in submillimeter detail. In 1992, researchers saw a clue. In 2007, they finally saw the answer. The old technology only said, "There's something inside." The new technology said, "There's a face inside." End this section with a suspenseful sentence. And when that second face appeared on the screen, the researchers understood that Nefertiti had not kept a secret. She had kept two versions of herself. What appeared inside the bust was not a crack, nor a repair, nor a digital shadow. It was a complete face, and that face changed everything. Comment now. If you were an archaeologist, would you prefer to preserve the mystery or reveal every hidden layer of an ancient work? And leave your like for more stories like this. Build a visual scene. A modern medical machine scanning a 3,000-year-old work of art. Layer by layer, millimeter by millimeter, the screen begins to reveal something impossible. Create tension. The scientists weren't looking for a legend, they were looking for data. But the data revealed a secret. Explain that the 2007 scan confirmed the existence of a complete face beneath the visible surface. It had eyes, a nose, a mouth, cheekbones, a chin, and a neck. It wasn't an accidental shape or a simple support. It was a carved and recognizable version. This face had remained hidden since antiquity, covered by the outer version that the world knows. The bust functions as a sculpture within a sculpture. First, there is a base with a human face. Layers were then applied on top that modified, softened, and perfected that face until the famous image was created. The moment should feel like a quiet revelation, not explosive but profound. The past speaking through a modern machine. Make a dramatic comparison. The outer face seems perfect, balanced, almost impossible. But the inner face has more human details. Ask, why did all the modifications go in the same direction? To make her appear more perfect? The researchers explained that they noticed small but significant differences. The inner face appeared to show lines near the mouth, a less idealized nose, softer cheekbones, and more natural features. The outer face, on the other hand, was more refined, younger, and more symmetrical. The pattern was clear. No modification added realism. All of them eliminated imperfections. The inner face seemed more human. The outer one seemed more official. It's as if someone had taken a real person and transformed them into a symbol of beauty and power. Here's a connection to the modern world. Filters, public image, reputation, visual power. Nefertiti could have been turned into a brand thousands of years before social media. Pose the big question. Why create a complete face only to then hide it? Present this as the heart of the mystery. It's not enough to know there are two faces. The important thing is to understand why they exist. Technical theory. The inner face may have been a normal stage in the artistic process. The sculptor carved a base and then used plaster to correct details and improve the finish. Theory of the real face. The inner face may be closer to Nefertiti's authentic appearance. The outer face would be an idealized version, created to show youth, perfection, and power. Symbolic or structural theory. The two faces are not truth versus lie, but two parts of the same work. The inner face was never meant to be seen. It was merely the hidden foundation that supported the final image. No one can definitively prove which theory is correct, because Thutmose died more than 3,000 years ago. But they all point to one central idea. The bust is not just an image of Nefertiti. It is an artistic decision about how she should be remembered. To conclude with a powerful statement. And that is where this mystery ceases to be just archaeology. Because the hidden face of Nefertiti also speaks to us about ourselves. Let's begin with a reflection. For centuries, kings, queens, and leaders not only ruled territories, they also ruled their own image. Let's ask, how much of what we remember about Nefertiti is real history and how much is a visual construct? It's important to explain that relatively little is known about Nefertiti on a personal level. We have no diaries, intimate letters, or direct accounts of her thoughts. Much of what we know comes from official images, created to project authority, beauty, and legitimacy. The bust became the definitive image of Nefertiti, but modern scanning has shown that this image may not have been the first version. What the world calls Nefertiti could be a carefully crafted image. Not necessarily false, but certainly a carefully constructed one. The visible face can tell us how they wanted to present her. The hidden face can bring us closer to the question of who she might have truly been. This act should feel profound and philosophical. Archaeology becomes a reflection on reputation, identity, and memory, to show how the bust survived everything. The abandonment of Amarna, the desert sands, the move to Germany, wars, political debates, and scientific advances. To ask, why does this piece remain so powerful after 3,300 years? Explain that the bust represents not only an ancient queen, but also the tension between beauty and truth. For decades, it was admired as a perfect work. After the scan, it became something more complex. A work containing a visible and a hidden version. Its modern history also adds layers. It was discovered, moved, protected during the war, debated by governments, and finally analyzed with medical technology. The bust of Nefertiti is famous because it appears perfect. But it's fascinating because it's not simple. It contains history, politics, art, mystery, science, and a fundamental human question. Do we want to see the truth, or do we prefer the perfect image? Maintain a cinematic pace. This act should prepare the emotional conclusion, showing that the importance of the bust lies not only in its beauty, but in the questions it still provokes. Return to the initial image. Visitors silently gazing at Nefertiti's face. Now the viewer understands that they were all looking at a surface that concealed another story. Pose the final question. If the secret was always there, was it truly hidden? Or did we simply lack the right tools to see it? Explain that the inner face never disappeared. It wasn't destroyed or separated from the bust. It remained inside the sculpture for thousands of years, protected by the same layer that concealed it. Modern technology didn't create the mystery. It only allowed us to see it. The true mystery began 3,300 years ago, when a sculptor decided to alter one face and cover it with another. The great lesson is simple. The bust of Nefertiti is not just a face. It is a choice. Someone decided what should be shown and what should be hidden. And that decision survived for more than 3 millennia. Now I want to know your opinion. Do you think the hidden face was the real Nefertiti, or just part of the artistic process? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy ancient mysteries, archaeological secrets, and stories that change the way we see the past, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. In the next video, we'll travel to another archaeological site where the stones still seem to hold messages that researchers can't explain. Nefertiti's secret was not lost. It was waiting for the exact moment when humanity could look beyond the beauty and discover the truth hidden beneath.